We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp bội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tinh chuyên diệu pháp luân, giáo đạo ngã mùng. Như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thổ Sư Chế Đô Ye La Hơ Đi Sam Nhạo San Pu Tô Xế. Nam mô Đắc Đắc Tha Tu Già Đà Già La Đế Tham Miệu Tham Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu. 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Jing Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns and all good known advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thánh Lương Đại sư Thượng Thiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the last day of May 2024. We're here at Way Mountain to continue discussing the second door of the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra prepared by Great Master Jing Liang. Okay, it's a long thing, so we just pick up as much as we can. So don't worry too much about trying to understand this thing here. But as a reminder, we have some new people here. It is very profound, and just listen. And if you have any questions, whatever intrigues you, you can ask. But it's not meant for you to really understand right away. And Buddhism, what we do is we plant the seeds. What we're doing here is planting the Vajra seeds of great wisdom that will sprout. Okay, so it's one of the best seeds possible for developing your own wisdom. Okay, so thank you all for joining us. All right, we are on slide 853. Background is he's talking about Indian Buddhism. So this is kind of a nice survey for us to see what the Indian masters felt that they had to do to teach their followers back then. And you see each country, Buddhism started in India, and then eventually migrated to China, and then eventually migrated to the U.S. In 1960s by great Master YongHua. And you see, so each country have their own style of teachings. It's more suitable to the culture and to the students. The teaching is always geared towards the students, very much like whoever comes to join us, you're all entitled to ask questions. We try to explain the Dharma, explain things so that it's relevant to you, okay? But even so, don't try to understand. Buddhism, the nature of Buddhism, especially Mahayana, is you planting the seeds. It's like farming. If you understand, then you can open your wisdom. Your wisdom unfolds later after you plant the seeds, okay? And eventually in time, when the conditions ripen, your wisdom will unfold itself. And it's really, really beautiful then. And it's very important because unless you plant the seeds, your wisdom cannot unfold. This is what's different about us in our approach to the spiritual path. We're not trying to please you, not trying to build followers or seek fame and profit. What we try to do is to maximize your benefits for you, okay? Great benefits for you, okay? And for that, we need to help you plant the seeds of wisdom, okay? You, in Buddhism, you all are endowed with infinite wisdom already. It's from your Buddha nature that we all are endowed with that. It's just that we don't know how to wield it. So part of Buddhism in our world is to teach you and to guide you on how to do it, okay? I'm no Buddha, I'm no Bodhisattva, but I've been chosen and to be supported so that I can try to teach you and guide you on how to get there, okay? All right, so this is Indian teachings, or these Indian monks. For some reason, they chose to explain things this way. They're not wrong, and they're profound, okay? We spend time going through this for you to help you understand the Buddha principles, why he taught certain things, and why, and then next, why these Indian masters, great sages, chose to interpret or put certain emphasis in the Indian culture, okay? And we should be very grateful for it because, you know, for most of us, we don't have it. Here in America, we don't have such depth of philosophy of life. Buddhism to me is a philosophy of life, okay? You can call it whatever you want. My masters like to call everything Buddhism. I like to call everything is everything. It doesn't have to be Buddhism, okay? Buddha is perfectly happy as long as you unfold your wisdom and you are happy and you do the good things to benefit the world. That's all that matters. Whether you call yourself Mormon, Christian, Buddhist, it doesn't matter to us, I feel. I can't speak for the Buddha, that's how I feel. So there's no point in labeling yourself as Buddhist. However, I call myself American Buddhist because our approach is different from the Chinese Buddhism approach my Chinese master brought to this country that is preserved or safeguarded in his organization called Dharma Realm Buddhist Association. They have a website, okay? You could go there to look up the Chinese style of Buddhism. We started by being under his umbrella the first 5 years, 7 years, no more than 7 years, okay? And because it's a proper foundation, Asian Buddhism, later, by the way, let me backtrack a little bit. After Indian Buddhism moved to China, I feel the Chinese Buddhism, based on what I've seen here from Master Qing Liang's analysis of the Indian Buddhism, Indian Buddhist masters, I feel Chinese Buddhism is much more interesting to me. Maybe because I'm Asian, maybe because I'm half Chinese, half Vietnamese, half whatever, I don't know, okay, half confused. But I feel that the Chinese Buddhism is so profound, so much more colorful, so much more multidimensional than Indian Buddhism. This is my personal feeling. So it means that I shut myself out of Indian Buddhism. I'm not interested in researching Sanskrit Buddhism, Buddhism in Sanskrit, not at all, because of what I've seen from a translation. In contrast, the Chinese Buddhism is so profound. Yes, the Chinese are so colorful. They have so many characters. The Chinese monks are so interesting to me. Okay, and they're such great monks, like my own Chinese master. So he's Chinese. We started by doing him because his teachings, because I thought I would interpret his teaching, because I knew that my peers were going further and further away from the core of his teaching. So I said, let me do this. Let me reinterpret the teachings to make sure people understand what my Chinese master meant. And it seemed to help because my students improved so much. And when I realized my students got to the same level as my Chinese master's disciples, I said, then I have to change, because that's as far as his teaching can take you. Because if I continue, I saw them already for 3 decades. I've been as a monk. They stuck. They cannot go from under his shadow. So I ventured out from under his shadow and go into certain teaching with my teacher. My teacher never emphasized that much. And so that's how our students got further and further up, higher, okay? And so that's why, for your clarification, because I can't care less whatever you call me Hay, you call me Ray, you call me Johnson, you call me A, whatever, okay? I don't care. I can't care less, okay? My student might get upset at you. You might find a flat tires when you come out, okay? Be careful, that's all. But I don't care, okay? They have green light too. Never mind. So I call it American Mahayana because I feel that you should have a choice between Chinese Mahayana over there and American Mahayana over here. Our emphasis is different. They're both good for you. Okay? And so here we are. So feel free to ask questions. We are different in so many ways. For example, you're free to throw darts at me and ask questions, okay? And versus over there, my entire 4 years over there, I could never ask questions. So it's very frustrated, let me tell you. It doesn't mean I can answer your questions. It only means I'm not afraid not to be able to answer your questions. That's why I allowed you to ask questions. And I occasionally BS my way out of it. Okay? I try to stop talking about this door number 2 here, but they caught my BS and forced me to keep on talking. I said, okay, to show you I'm not afraid to continue, I continue. Well, thank you. Thank you all for giving me a chance to look deeper and deeper into this wonderful teaching, let me tell you. So again, you newcomers, goes to one ear, goes out the other, okay? That's how you listen to it. You don't have to understand. But If any of you is curious or want to know, feel free to raise your hands and ask, okay? Because that's how we study Buddhism, by exchanging ideas, exchanging viewpoints. Because I may understand in my way, but from your questions, okay, I understand Buddhism from your perspective, from your lenses, from your contact lenses, and so forth, okay? And that is of interest to me. That's why sometimes I don't understand what you're asking, and I don't know what it's about. I mean, the Buddhist principle is too profound for me, but my personal interest is that your question tells me your perspective, how you look at Buddhism. That is fascinating to me. That's my fun. Looking at Buddhism from your perspective instead of my perspective, okay? And that's what Buddhism is supposed to do. We're supposed to teach you Buddhism, we're supposed to teach you things that are useful to you, okay? So we deviate from a Chinese style where they talk Buddhism for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You stand up and you say, wow, the master has so much wisdom. I didn't get a damn thing for 2 hours. He is so advanced, and therefore we should come back again next week and learn from this, and learn Buddhism that way. This is how it's always been traditionally the case in Asian Buddhism. I don't believe in that. It bothers the heck out of me. I want to ask questions. Okay, I couldn't ask questions, so now I am returning the favor to you, allow you to ask questions. All right, the favor is that they made me frustrated. That's why I'm undoing my frustration on you. Okay, so here we are. Master Xuanzang, a great Chinese monk, he went to India back then to bring back the profound Buddhist teaching. This is a very important point. Back then, the Chinese emperors had wisdom. So they realized that for them to compete better and to take the Chinese emperor to build the empire bigger and to be able to rule the empire, they need wisdom. What kind of wisdom? Wisdom from the emperor, because many Chinese emperors used to be Buddhist disciples. Okay, so the emperors need to have wisdom. And then you need the population, the populace, to have wisdom as well. Okay, so we all know what to do. Okay, and so the Chinese emperors send the Chinese monk over to China. Think about it. That's unheard of nowadays. Can you see the U.S. government sending someone over to study something to bring back so that they can rule better, so that our people can have a better lives, are really happier? Okay, because the fact is that what we have right now is not working. We're not happy. Actually, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Homeless, problems, what else? Jung, what problem is there in the world that bothers you? He's going to say Democrats. Never mind. Yes, go ahead. What bothers you? Nothing bothers you? Okay. Poverty in the world, huh? The wider the gap between the have and the have-not, it gets wider and wider. That's unsustainable. Okay? And so you see, unless we do something drastically different very quickly, okay, it's going to blow up in our children's face. We can get away with it, but it won't be long before it blows up. Okay, so you see, the American value system is not working. Yes, it works better than the other, but actually, it's not overall. We're not doing well as a society. Okay, and so you see, so that's where it's because the people on top, the presidents and the legislators, don't have the wisdom that the Chinese emperors used to have. Because after the Chinese emperors brought and stole, actually they had to steal the Indian monks, the great Indian monks, and they sent the armies over to conquer, to beat up on the smaller Indian kings, to steal the great Indian monks back to China. That's how aggressive the Chinese emperors used to be. And that's wisdom right there. They have the blessings, they have the wisdoms. And you see, nowadays we don't have it. Buddhism here in the US is basically struggling. Buddhism everywhere is struggling, is becoming commercialized instead of being true to its original intent of the Buddha, is to benefit living beings, not to benefit ourselves, not to build bigger temples and drive red cars, drive nice cars, except for red cars, and have money in the bank and so forth. No, Buddhism is always in helping you live a better life, not just better life alone. Better life, it could be misinterpreted, but how about meaningful life that you can be proud of and your children can benefit from it, really. And not your children, but also your nephews and nieces, also others' children as well. That's the scope of Buddhism. You're not here to benefit ourselves. And so this core of happiness that people don't understand, fail to understand nowadays, how can you be happy? Okay. Hint. Demons are very unhappy. You know that? That's why they spend all their energy on hurting others, destroying others. That's because they're so unhappy deep down inside. On the other hand, the bodhisattvas, like my Chinese master, like many other bodhisattvas have had the honor to meet, they're so happy inside than us. I went to Korea, I saw this bodhisattva. He's so happy. He looks so humble, but he's so happy inside. Okay? And so in order to be happy, the Westerners don't understand it. It's fundamental in Asian culture is goodness. You have to have a good heart in order for you to be happy. And boys, pay attention now. When you look for a wife, you want a happy wife, because when the wife is unhappy, the household is unhappy. Okay? And so when you look for a wife, South Carolina, okay? Look for a good woman or a good man. That's how it is nowadays. See, now he reacts right away. Yes, sir. One.
Master, where do I find a good woman? Because there's a lot of bad girls out there in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles? Oh no!
There's too many bad girls out there. Where do I find a good woman?
Okay.
That's my question.
Fair question. Okay. Angelos, answer him. I don't know. I have not been looking for girls in Los Angeles. Who am I to tell you? Huh? How come there's so many bad girls? It's because bad girls have more fun. They're not necessarily happier, they just have more fun. You believe that? People confuse fun with happiness.
So happiness is more of a long-term thing, not fun for like a one-night thing, and happiness is more of a
1 week thing, yeah.
Long-term marriage thing.
Live it longer. Make it last. I agree. Happiness is what people, the Westerners like you, have a misconception of happiness. You think happiness is something that's static. Happiness grows. If happiness, you cannot grow happiness, girls are not interested in you. Okay? So I don't know how to find a good woman because I haven't tried. Okay? All my disciples are good, so... They're none, so... So what is your question? How do you find a good woman to be happy?
There's got to be some kind of middle way between like... On the outside world, it's a brutal, bad world out there, and there's not too many people on the good side. This is what it seems. So what would be a good start of finding
now you brought it up. I remember my late Chinese master, Master YongHua. Okay? He's very interesting. Okay? There is this Jewish guy who came to him and who was interested in learning, okay, how to be happier. And so he's a professor, he's a hotshot, PhD from Stanford and so forth. And then he's Jewish, and so he became Buddhist. And he says, Judaism doesn't have answers for me. He's very well educated. So he said, I'm looking to Buddhism. I found Buddhism to be deeper and serves my needs better. So he said, how about you becoming my teacher? Master YongHua immediately said, no, I don't have any wisdom. Go find these teachers, Back then there's no internet, so he gave him a few names. So the guy actually flew to Thailand, to various countries, to talk to those monks that Master YongHua recommended. And after a while, he came back and said, I still want you to be my teacher. So Master YongHua, okay. So he accepted him as a disciple. Okay. And so one day, his Jewish disciple came to him and said, I need a woman. I'm sorry, I need a wife, not a woman. See what I mean? I have a lot to learn. So Master YongHua did something very unusual. Okay, he actually said, go there. There's a woman there that's perfect for you. So he actually pinpointed which woman that the guy should marry. Well, marry, not get. And so he did that. He went to see her, and she's some sort of Chinese girl, okay? And he courted her, and, it wasn't much of a courtship because she basically was waiting for him. And so they got married, and they've been still together all these years, okay? And he gave birth to a boy who is kind of a weirdo, but that's a different story. I think his son is sort of like early back in my era. It's unusual for the son to be sort of undecided whether he likes girls or boys. Okay, very advanced. Anyway, nowadays it's more commonplace. Nowadays, men should tie men, women should tie women, which goes on their head constantly, I'm told. Okay, but what do I know? Anyway, so my point being that my master is kind of unusual. Well, he would pick out wives and husbands for his disciples. Yeah, back there, you.
Hello.
I wish I could do that.
I was about to ask, is there any man that you recommend
See, I know it.
for me?
I pretend not to see his raised hand, but but he forced the issue on me. Listen, I'm a one-time loser, so what do I know about love? Look, you don't come to a monk and ask for advices on love and courtship, okay? You all should know that. And my master basically took care of those issues for him. Master Hsuan is a real character, okay? And it's funny because in the Bodhisattva precepts, in the Bodhisattva side of Buddhism, where we practice how to help others, we consider on that side that getting someone to marry you is sort of enslaving that person. So that's why the Bodhisattva precepts have no sex precepts. That's why. And we know that none of you is interested. That's why after 20 years, I still don't transmit the Bodhisattva precepts. And no one complained. Anyway, so what to do? My attitude is different. I don't necessarily search for women. Okay, my attitude is make yourself desirable. When they come at you, they knock on your doors instead of worrying about it. Okay? So anyone else has any suggestions before I go to Korean YouTube? Irrelevant? Oh, question is irrelevant. Forget it. Don't ask questions, man. Unrelated, not irrelevant, you Korean people. Unrelated, not irrelevant. Okay, anyone, what do you think? He says he wants to find a woman, but right? It's so hard, right? The one thing I feel that you overlook. Women are very, very smart. They pick and choose nowadays. Okay? Now they are a lot more aggressive nowadays. They have more control. In my era, in my times, we choose women. Okay? But now it's the opposite. Women choose men. And the good women, okay, the women, they choose you because they choose the smart women choose good men. That's what I noticed. Yeah, men can be fun for a while, but then they discard those men. But the ones, not true. Talk to Tiana. This is how she's.
Yes, Master. I think smart women nowadays, they look for good men because they know there's so many
phony men.
Yes. So they're And they work hard to,
Yes.
I guess, achieve what they want, like educations or job or whatever.
They can take care of themselves. Why would they burden themselves with a loser, with a guy that who will cause problems for them later?
They learn that they can live without men.
That's what's scary, I think. This is why, most men are single. They don't need us. That's a fact. There's not too many of you anymore. Look at all the women here. They're the one with the wisdom, with the profession, with the money. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a comment and a question from Nacho at Gold Forest. Emitofuo, Master. Nowadays, I feel that if you are good, people like to take advantage of it. Should I put a limit on how much I do and how much I give to people when they take advantage of me? And that's his question.
Okay. Well, my answer is, take advantage of me. Use me. Nacho, my boy, have no fear. Tell women, use me. This is why he's still single. He's afraid to be used, be taken advantage of. Okay? Nacho, one rule of thumb. Okay? It's okay to let them take advantage of you once. So have no fear. Once they, you say, so you took advantage of me, yeah? Okay? And they say, yeah, I took advantage of you. That's when, goodbye. Okay? Have no fear. What are you afraid of? It's only a dinner. Yeah? Okay. Irrelevant Korean YouTube question.
네, 루슈님의 질문입니다. 아미타불 마스터, 공부를 하려고 하는데 집중을 못하겠는데 어떻게 하면 집중하여 머릿속에 지식을 넣을 수 있는지 모르겠습니다. 혹시 어떤 문제가 있어서 집중을 못하는 걸까요? 감사합니다.
Master, I'm trying to study, but I cannot concentrate. How can I concentrate and put the knowledge into my head? Is there any problem so that I cannot concentrate? Thank you.
Repeat the question, please.
I'm trying to study, but I cannot concentrate.
Wow.
How can I concentrate? How can I put the knowledge into my head?
Put what in your head?
How can I?
I heard a knife. How can I put a knife on my head? That's why I wanted to hear it again.
Knowledge.
Knife. See what I mean? She said it again, knife.
How can I put the knowledge into my head?
Okay. Fine. That's good. Put a knife in your head. Okay. Is this person talking about high school or college or what? What is this person studying? It depends on who you are. Okay? Basically, the Master Shrina taught his disciples how to do that. He says, it's not about concentration alone, but it's about you taking notes. Okay, when you study, this is different. Okay, folks, when I told you when you listen to Dharma, you don't need to take notes, you don't need to remember, that's different. okay? I want you to be curious, that's all I care about. But when you study, this is worldly topics, that's different, okay? So when you study, Master Hsuan taught them, I remember vaguely, that you take notes, okay? So you listen through your ears and you write it down with your hand, okay? So you'll go through the motion of your sense organs and committing it to paper, and then at night you review it, okay? So it's repetition. That's how you, especially for children, in Korea, they have, you go to school, whether it's high school or college, it's a lot of memorization. So you need to memorize and commit knowledge to your mind. Then you need to go through the repetition process, okay? Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. Jane Clymer has a comment. She suggests study in full lotus for cramming before exams.
Yes, up to a certain point. So it depends on who this person is. If you are able to sit in full lotus already, then you should sit in full lotus. But it also has drawbacks because you can sit for so long, then you get in trouble and it becomes counterproductive. Yes, 8.
So, Master, we have additional information. His name is Kang Min-seok, and he already graduated from college and is applying for some sort of certification. So he's preparing to get certain certifications.
Okay. Then if it's about memorization, then you have to go through that process, okay? You read, you take notes. You don't simply read. You read or you study and you listen, then you take notes, okay? Take abbreviated notes. And then at night review it and review it until you memorize it. That's all. Very simple. You're able, since he graduated from college already, that means he's able to memorize. So it's there already. It's just a matter of doing it. And then there's one trick that Master Hsuan didn't teach. There's so much you can study, okay? Then before you become overburdened, your mind becomes full, okay? And the process is that you fill your mind, your short-term memory, and then pretty soon it's filled up. You can't go anymore, okay? And it needs time to transfer from short-term memory to your long-term memory, okay? And that process there can be helped by your meditating. So for example, when you study, using the process of studying, taking notes, okay, taking notes and review notes over and over again until you can remember. There will be a point in time where you're so tired you cannot continue anymore. That's when you meditate to clear your head, because that's the best way to clear your head. Use Chan, use different forms of meditation techniques to clear your head so that you can renew your efforts. Okay? This is what students and professionals fail to understand. Okay? You can only work so much until you can no longer function effectively. Therefore, you must learn to meditate. Okay? It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a researcher, professor, or a student, you all will run to a limit, and that you need to clear your short-term memory, your RAMs, if you will. Okay? And that's when you need to meditate. Everyone needs to meditate to reset their minds. Okay? And actually not reset the minds. If you have meditation skills, when you're tired there, you meditate, actually it has a way of melding what you learned so far and bring it to different axis, different facet. Okay? And so meditation is key. And so that begs for the follow-up question: how do you meditate? Learn chant. Go to the chant training that you can find at our temples in Korea, and yeah, it's well worth your time. Not only for now, for your studies, to get your certificate, but also in the future. You need to take meditation very seriously, and in particular in K-land, the K people, the K-pops and the K-moms. They have Buddhist roots, so that's why if they were to study chant, to practice chant, they will pick it up very, very quickly, because their ancestors, many of the ancestors were Buddhist and gave such blessings to their offsprings already, and they pass on from generation to generation. So the seeds of meditation are there in many, many K-pops and K-moms, and mini Ks. All right? Okay, good luck to you. JMT.
자격증 공부 들리세요? 네, 자격증 공부하신다고 해서 말씀드리면 한국에서는 사실은 머리가 공부하는 게 아니라 엉덩이가 공부한다는 말이 있거든요. 네. 그래서 엉덩이가 공부한다는 말이 있고, 저 같은 경우도 일단 엉덩이로 무조건 공부를 열심히 하면서 1시간 정도는 관세음보살님께 합격을 위한 기도를 같이 병행했었던 것 같고, 만약에 수험생이 기도를 할 시간이 없으면 주변 사람이 해서 회항하면 될 것 같아요. 네.
And then transfer.
Let's do it again.
그다음에
We could not hear you.
So I also study, I also sit long and then study a lot. And I also prayed Guanyin Pusa for 1 hour. And if you don't have time, maybe some other people can pray for him and then transfer merit and birth for him.
그리고 이제 말콤한테 할 말이 있는데, 저희 남편이 좋은 남편인지 모르겠지만 저는 어떻게 결혼 상대자를 찾았냐면, 내가 어떤 인생을 살고 싶은지 먼저 결정을 하고 그에게 맞는 남자를 달라고 관세보살님께 10년을 기도했던 것 같아요. 우리 남편이 좋은 사람인지 모르겠어요. 참고해 주세요, 말콤.
And then I want to say something to Malcolm. I'm not sure whether my husband is good husband or not. But what I did is I prayed to Guanyin Pusa for 10 years for giving me a good husband.
Is there a point? It could go either way, you know. And this is us. We talk about anything.
Jimmy, we cannot hear you.
Maybe it's meant to be. Maybe you shouldn't say anything. Yeah, exactly. One year is helping you. Not to lose a current husband. Go on. you're not scared. Yeah.
저 어떤 인생을 살고 싶은지 인생관을 정립하고 관세음보살님께 내 인생관에 맞는 남편을 만나게 해달라고 기도했었어요. 네.
So first, I decided what kind of a life I want to live, and then I prayed to Guanyin Buddha for that life.
그래서 관세음보살님이 저한테 맞는 남편을 주신 게 지금 남편이고 제 남편이 좋은 사람인지는 잘 모르겠어요.
Buddha gave me this current husband, but I'm not sure whether he's a good man or not.
So you're not sure that Guanyin Bodhisattva helped you or not? After all 10 years of praying to her?
아니요, 그게 아니고 주시긴 주신다고요.
It doesn't mean that the Guanyin Buddha gave a husband to me.
Let me get this straight. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
인생을 좀 더 살아봐야 될 것 같아요.
I have to live more.
See what?
I have to live more to find out.
I mean, the jury is still out. Okay. What does a husband have to say for himself? See, you guys don't want to learn about Buddhism. You just want to gossip, that's all. Go ahead, husband.
기도하면 관음보살님은 이루어 주십니다.
If you pray, the Guanyin Buddha help you.
So he's saying in Korean language, I'm a good husband. She gave you good help. Okay, and congratulations. There you go. Here, South Carolina. You can pray the Guanyin as well. You see? All right, Korean YouTube.
네, 이병님의 질문입니다. 안녕하세요, 이병입니다. 저는 술과 좋은 음식에 빠져 있는데 이걸 극복할 수 있을까요? 최근에 소속한 단체에 소속한 뒤로 꿈을 꾸었는데 이 단체의 지도자와 개인적인 친분을 나눈 후 그분이 토라져서 헤어지는 꿈을 꿨어요. 이 꿈이 앞으로의 일을 예견하는 듯해서 계속 이 단체에 있어야 할지 고민됩니다. 늘 가르침 듣고 감사한 마음입니다.
This is Lee Byung. I got indulged in drink and good food. How can I overcome it? And recently, I have a dream. I joined a new group, and then in the dream, the leader of the group got upset to me and left. And I think that dream might predict the future. So I'm wondering whether I should be in the group or not.
Okay, one more time.
I got indulged in drink and good food. How can I overcome it? And recently I had a dream. I joined some group, and then in the dream, the leader of the group got upset to me and left. And so I'm wondering whether this dream predicts the future.
Okay, very good. Very good. Let's make sure that we don't get it wrong. Repeat again.
So there are two things. The first thing, I got indulged in drink and good food.
Interest?
Indulged.
Indulge.
Yes, in good food and drink. How
That's
can I
normal,
overcome
okay.
it?
So how do you stop?
Yes.
Very good. Second question?
I had a dream. Recently I joined a group, and then in the group, the leader of the group got upset to me and then left. So I'm wondering whether this dream predicted the future, and I'm not sure whether I should be in the group or not.
Okay. Well, let's get the second question first. I don't know. Dreams are dreams. I don't know how to interpret dreams. Okay? As one, sometimes it's clear. When I listen, I can tell what it means. But this one here, the leader of the group and so forth, is too complicated, so I don't know. Okay? If it's a dream anyway, don't worry about it. Okay? If it's important, it'll come back. It's my attitude. Okay? All right. First question, should I indulge? How do I stop my indulgence in food and drinks? Well, you guys have problems, don't you? Indulge. Now you like to eat and like to drink. Buddhism is very simple. If you indulge too much, okay, if you overdo it, if it's excessive, then it stops being fun. Am I correct? When you're younger, young people, they like, for example, to get drunk. They think getting drunk is fun, okay? Actually, now people are discovering that alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol makes you depressed, okay? And so you drink alcohol because you want to forget and you think it's fun, but actually the fun is from your company, not necessarily from alcohol. To me, you go out with your friends and drink with them because you like the company, not necessarily because you get drunk, because after you get drunk, you don't like it. There is a hangover, there is vomit on your carpet. It's a lot of unpleasant things from excessive drinking. Yeah? That's where I'm getting at. And so, and therefore, to me, socializing over a drink or one or two is acceptable, okay? Because it's expectation from society, okay? Especially when you work in K-land and you have to take your clients, and you may have to take your clients out, okay, to get the business. That's a part of the thing. But you don't want to do it excessively, okay? So it's rather easy. You use moderation. That's how the Buddhists do it. We preach moderation. And so fundamentally, the philosophy of life for the Buddhists is to do things in moderation, meaning that if you like to drink a lot nowadays, then drink a little bit less next time, and a little bit less the following time, and so on and so on. Okay? That's how you recondition yourself to have fun, okay? And not fall prey to alcohol. Okay? And then as far as eating, same thing. When you eat too much, you have indigestion and so forth. And again, moderation. All right? You eat for flavors instead of eating. You realize that what most people don't realize is that they drink and they eat excessively because of mental issues. Many of these people who eat too much actually have depression. Depression is a very common cause for people to eat excessively. They want to feel good, and because depression makes them feel bad, so they compensate by eating. Okay, it's very typical. That's why it's a common problem nowadays. People drink too much and eat too much. It's commonplace, not just, it's everywhere. Okay, yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a question from Nacho again. Emitofuo, Master, I have meddled into my uncle's disease without knowing it. Will it help if this Sunday during the Great Compassion Repentance I repent from home for meddling? Thank you, Master.
Yes, it will help.
Okay.
Yes, 1.
Master, I had a question about the Dharma, the bowing Dharma door. When bowing a lot, does it lower the afflictions for the day and the different obstructions that you might face during the day?
Absolutely. Bowing, actually, the way we teach you, is a very, very good exercise. And it actually helps create a lot of blessings. So it's not just physical exercise, but it also increases your spiritual blessings. Okay, for example, if you were to go to, let's say, a gym or a Taoist place, they teach you to bow and so forth, and because the bowing, the motion right there, is an excellent exercise for you. Okay, for your spine, for your legs, for your entire body. But we use bowing also to train your mind, to concentrate. The way I teach you to bow, actually, you learn to train your mind to increase your concentration. At the same time, you're decreasing your karmic obstructions, okay? And so it's extremely beneficial. In fact, for most people, newcomers, traditionally, the Chinese would teach them to bow, okay? Everyone in Chinese Mahayana starts out with bowing a lot. But don't do it with like the Koreans where they bow excessively. That's wrong. To me, it's wrong because when you get older, you're going to have problems. Okay? The body is not meant to be abused that way. Okay? So you bow, for example, so I would limit my bowing to an hour. Okay, I will limit my maximum bowing to maybe a few hundred per day, maximum, but it has to be very slow. I don't want you bowing up and down like an exercise. No, bowing for us is a spiritual practice. We bow because it helps increase our concentration, among other things. We bow so that you learn to concentrate better, okay? So that's what I would recommend, yes. So in the morning for you, you could just start by bowing for an hour if you have time. If you don't have time, sleep less, get up and bow. And you see a huge difference in the day for you. Bow the way we teach you, the way we train you, okay? So if you do that every single morning, okay, you have a lot more energy during the day. Okay? All right, anyone else? Okay, ready to learn something? Okay, let's go to the thing. 853. At the end of the third period, for those of superior faculties, he spoke the great vehicle doctrine of marklessness, determining that the mind and states are both empty with the one flavor of sameness as a true and ultimate meaning.
故后第30为上根说无相大圣，便心尽俱空，平等一味， 未真了义。
Okay, commentary slide. Okay. We're in the midst of Master Ching Liang explaining again Indian Buddhism, their perspective from the Indian perspective. So for these Indian teachers, he said, you can take the Buddha's teaching, it's a career, and divide it into 4 periods. First period and second period, we talked about it. First period is when he taught low-level people, like non-Buddhist people. So he taught them the 3 store. And then for those who have more potential, he paves them the way. He taught them Vipulya, the second period. The third period is when those people who are really, really special, they can become enlightened. So this is what he's talking about. And the Buddha taught them differently. So the Buddhist teaching is actually very diverse. You teach different things to different people at different times, so it's not fixed at all. Okay, so this is why I encourage you to ask questions, because when you ask questions, I can specifically address your needs. Okay, because without which I can only speak to you in general as a theory. All right. So here, this Indian monk here, Master something like Wisdom Light, whatever. He said during the third period of the Buddha's career, for those who have superior faculties, meaning these people, the point here is the Buddha, he prepared them already. He says he taught them first all the same thing, okay, and then this next period, he taught them for those who are better to prepare them to receive the third period. Okay, so basically, second period is like a test. And say, see how open-minded are you? Okay, you're open-minded, then you know what I taught you is only a temporary thing, and then there's something much bigger. So that's why second period is a transition, if you will. Okay, so it's a test. When Buddha did that, some of his students didn't like it, they left and so forth. So what's left is the one who are qualified to go in third period. And the third period, okay, now it's like very much like the tests that we have for college exams. It helps the teachers discern who's qualified and who's not. So the third period are the ones who made it. The third period are the ones who have so-called superior faculties. Meaning what? They have a lot of blessings. Because unless you have blessings, it's very difficult for you to accept Mahayana. It's nothing we can do. Because the way you are the way you are trained, the way you are educated is based on your logical mind. Okay, it has to be sequential, has to be logical. Okay, and that in itself serves you in your daily life, but it has a drawback. It confines you to what you can only see or understand. And that's a fallacy of scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is predicated and based upon facts, okay, measurable things, okay? However, there are lots of things we cannot measure, there's lots of things we cannot see. And therefore, if you only depend on your thinking mind, your scientific mind, your world is very, very tiny. You're so scared, you don't dare face things that you don't understand, that your logical mind cannot grasp. And that's why the scientists are the ones, they don't like to admit it, but they're the ones who live in fear. The fear of not being able to explain or face things that they cannot understand. It's very much like someone asked me earlier about finding a good woman here in Southern California. Okay, I didn't give a good answer, a complete answer. I would not worry about finding a good woman. I would find all the bad women, and then pretty soon I'm not afraid of finding a bad woman, and pretty soon you run to a good woman. But if you start out by saying, I only deal with good women, you're leaving out so many potential good women who are evil. You get my point? Same rationale. The same rationale. Because if you only stick to what you know, what is verifiable, then there are things that are not verifiable. The world out there, science makes advances because it dares look at things that are not verifiable yet, like Einstein looking at the theory of the relativity. He said E equals mc2, okay, mc squared, and he could not verify it. And it was at least 10 years or maybe later that the scientists were able to verify the theory. You see, and yet it didn't stop Einstein from going beyond his logical, his what's familiar to him. Okay, and so that's what it is. What it is that, like it or not, we seek the familiar, we seek the comfortable, we seek safety. So that's based on our logical mind. It's understandable. However, your wisdom is not linear. Your wisdom is multidimensional. It's able, your own wisdom that you have right now is able to grasp things at so many dimensions at the same time, rather than linear or three-dimensional. Okay? If only you allow it the chance to do so. And this is a problem with the scientists. They're too limited. They're too scared to face their limitations. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a question from Samson.
Who is an engineer? Yes? Okay.
Hi, Master. I was reading some material on Buddhism online, and I came across a form of practice called Vajrayana, which sounds like it's focused on mantras. Is this part of Mahayana? And are these practices the same as the mantras that we practice? Thank you.
Okay. That Vajrama Pranya, whatever, I heard of it before, and I never could remember exactly, because basically it's secret school. And I think that's what the Tibetans are known for. And so my answer is yes, it's tantras. They practice tantras. They call themselves the supreme Buddhism or supreme school of Buddhism, because that's what the Chinese text says. Okay, but it's not what it sounds. Actually, Vietnamese is supreme, not Tibetan. Never mind, as a joke. Supreme, when they said supreme in the Tantra school, it's for a reason. It's not the way that it sounds to you on the internet or the way it reads. Okay, it's not that way at all. Okay, it relates to the fact that when you practice, there's certain things you have to be careful about. Okay, the supreme thing here that they talked about is designed to help you avoid getting in trouble. And because it's very easy when you practice tantras to get in trouble, okay? Because you deal with invisible forces. It's much more than just what those low-level tantric people like to do by moving pencils and whatever. It's nonsense, okay? It's not for that purpose for you when you recite mantras. Anyway, mantras are these secret practices. It's called secret because it has secret meanings that only Buddhas understand. It's a Buddha's language, therefore it's secret. They understand what we don't. Okay, we can try to explain it a little bit, but it carries many more meanings that we can possibly explain to you. Now, so in Buddhism, there's this Vajrayana, something like that. That school, that's called secret school, and it's discontinued in China and in Japan as well. And only, I think, the school survives in its form, in a subset form in Tibet, in the Tibetan practices. Okay, and therefore, the Tibet has a different language. They teach and use Sanskrit. We use Chinese. Okay, and that's where I came from. We use Chinese. We also have secret school because my Chinese teacher transmitted all 5 schools from China to the U.S. One of the 5 schools is secret school. He didn't say it, but actually he's transmitted to us as well. Okay, so he revived the secret school, but we don't advocate a secret school at all. And the secret school we practice is actually Mahayana secret school. The Vajrayana, whatever you see out there, is a subset of it. It's not a complete secret school. In what sense? In the sense that, to me, whether you call it black or white or big or small, it's not a big deal. It's only words. To me, what's real is your accomplishment, your wisdom. If you practice, you follow that path, let's say in Tibet or in Japan or in China or in Vietnam, whatever. Vietnam also have secret school, okay? Smaller. But you follow these practices, historically, what is the highest level of attainment that were reached? To me, I'm very American. You can talk all you want. Okay, what is your highest level? Okay, and so I look at if you look at the current practitioners, I look at them. I said, your level is not high enough for me to be interested. Okay, so that's why, practically speaking, don't bother learning that, because I feel that doesn't go far enough. I look at their people and I see that they lack the foundation. The reason they cannot reach very high and go very far is because they don't have the proper foundation. They can't build, they can't reach very high. Okay, and so as far as the mantra goes, the Surangama mantras and Great Compassion mantras are 2 of the most powerful mantras in Buddhism. You will not be able to find anything more powerful than those 2. And that's what we teach you. That's what you're practicing. Okay, so why go with the small ones? I'm very American that way as well. If we're going to spend time, I'm going to do things that are useful to me and that will take me very far. All right? And so you are welcome and you're encouraged to read those things, but at your own risk and peril, because you cannot tell from one from the other. Unfortunately, you have to ask me, so I open my big mouth, and it sounds like I'm criticizing them. No, I'm very practical. If I'm not saying I understand everything, but I look at every single spiritual leader and said, if you are at that level, I cannot send my students to you. That's my interest. You understand? I'm looking for someone better than me so that I can send my students over so that they could get better, not keep you here. I'm not interested in keeping you here. Okay? Actually, I find someone better, I would offer all the temples and all of you as a tribute. Gee. Yes, if they take it.
May I continue?
Yes.
Thank you. I have here a question from Diego. Emitofuo Master, when we practice at the temple under your protection, do we receive automatically the transmission, for example, of the Great Compassion Mantra? Thank you, Master.
Yeah, that particular mantra, for example, the Great Compassion Mantra, when you participate in our cultivation, like, for example, the Great Compassion Repentance that we will do this Sunday, then you have automatic transmission. However, there's a mantra that called the Shrangama mantra. You need to receive specific instructions, transmission, because it's a special mantra that you need the transmission, because in the transmission process, a lot of things happens, among which is that we send you protectors, because that mantra is very powerful. When you practice it, the demons will come and give you a lot of grief. So without protection, you won't make it. So what's the point in telling you to recite it? We know that you don't have what it takes to go there. So that's why in Buddhism, we choose to say, if you want to practice this, you need to receive transmission. That's all. All right, JMT.
마스터, 제가 아시아 참선 때도 질문을 드렸는데 지금 마스터 XC께서 저한테 다즈토를 하라고 하셔가지고 하루에 한 30-40분 이상을 하고 있거든요. 근데 제가 특별한 전수를 받은 적이 없는데 어떻게 해야 되죠? 특별한 전수 어떤 절차가 필요한 걸까요?
Master, I'm doing Dajito for 30 or 40 minutes a day because Master XC instructed me. But I didn't get any transmission. So is there any special thing that I need to do?
Okay, now you have transmission. Easily fixed. Can I go through this and then go to the next slide so that I can move on? Okay, I hate to leave this hanging like this. Give me a few minutes, okay? I'm at slide 854. So these are superior faculties referred to, as I said, people would have a lot of blessings. So when I taught you to bow, there are plenty of seeds for you to have superior faculties in the future, okay? Nothing you do is a waste. And he spoke the great vehicle doctrine of marklessness. The great vehicle doctrine of marklessness, meaning that don't be attached to externals, okay? Meaning that whatever you can observe through your sense organs, okay? Whether that Birkin back there or that nice Porsche there, okay? Don't be attached, because all the marks you see to be attractive, to be nice, are very superficial. Actually, they're empty when you have wisdom. So, because worldly people are confused, easily confused, that's why they are attached to externals, which the Buddhist jargon is mark. A mark is anything, any characteristic that you can observe through your sense organs. What you see, what you smell, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, what else? what you think of, okay? All those are marks, okay? So don't be attached to it. If you have wisdom, you will not be attached to mark. That's why the people with superior faculties eventually will be able to understand marklessness. This is why we train you. When Buddha taught the third period is to bring those people with great faculties to understand marklessness, meaning they're so free. They're not attached to anything in the world. They're not attached to your adoration, to your love. Okay, and that's what makes them better than us. And they teach us not determining. Determining is being. And this is actually to dissect and to analyze, not just determine alone, but actually there's a lot more going on. During the third period, the Buddha spent a lot of time analyzing, dissecting, and convincing his students that both the mind here and the state is outside. Why do we, in Buddhism, we talk about mind and state? Mind is you, okay? Who's more important than you? What's most important in you is your mind. Your mind is the king, okay? The king mind, okay? Your mind. And then what the mind perceives out there is a state, okay? So in the superior people, the superior faculty people, the Buddha trained them so that these people realize that they should not be so enamored with their own logic, their own smarts, like scientists are. Smart people are proud of themselves. Bodhisattvas, let me tell you, are so much brighter, so much faster. More than these scientists, these geniuses can ever imagine. The geniuses think they're fast. The Bodhisattvas are 100 times faster, 1,000 times faster. Speed of mind, if they can measure it, okay? And so it's because the Bodhisattvas, these people in third period will become Bodhisattvas, will certify the Bodhisattvahood. Their mind have no attachment, that's why they call empty, okay? And they're not attached to their knowledge, unlike normal people. People say, I know how to paint, I know how to cook, I know how to program, and because we rewarded doing those. But actually, the people with wisdom know those things, do those things very well, but they're not attached to it. They do it because they need to help others. Normal people do it because they want to help themselves. That's a difference, okay? So that's why they're not attached to their doing this, doing that, okay? They're not attached to this at all. While the ordinary people are very attached because their mind, okay, is so proud of it. And the states is that outside, they're not attached to externals, they're not attached to houses, they're not attached to cars, they're not attached to adoration, they're not attached to fame, they're not attached to profits. Okay? Because they realize both mind and states, inside and outside, are both empty. That's why in Buddhism it says, Chinese Buddhism, it says the eye sees forms outside, but inside there's nothing. The ear hears defiling sounds, but the mind does not know. Meaning what? When the eye sees, okay, something forms, okay, something outside. Inside, they're not excited, okay? Okay, because mind is empty, the form is empty. The ears hear defiling sounds, and my mind does not know. When you hear the noises, the sound, the music, the mind does not get excited unless it chooses to. All right? Next slide, and we'll stop. 855, with that principle, one flavor, a sameness, a true emptiness, and wonderful existence, and the true and ultimate meaning. This will be clearer later. It will later, in the later slides, the great master Qing Liang will then explain what's one flavor, sameness, and about true emptiness and wonderful existence. Okay? It's to be discussed and elaborated a little bit later down the road. Thank you, everyone. We stop here tonight.